Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope y'all doing well and enjoying your day so far, and Crimsix has been going absolutely rogue over these last few days. We know full well that this New York roster is rumoured to be Prestinni, Crimsix, Hydra and Neptune. What does that mean for the in-game leadership role next season for that squad, and how important actually is an in-game leader? Zuma and Crimsix certainly getting into a bit of a back and forth. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. I'm really up to the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. Of course, this first of all from the TacticalRab Academy I thought was pretty entertaining. Given all these talk in the last couple of days about the leaks coming out, and pros not necessarily being too happy about it, pros basing on the timeline, pros when Crone links these rosters, these pictures are absolutely fantastic. Not sure what they've done to Cellium, but yeah, I don't know, I thought it was kind of funny regardless. And well, this of course is the other piece of the puzzle, right? We know relatively well what the 10 rosters are going to be, at least right now, from, well, 10 of the CDL teams out of the 12. Now, 2 of these CDL teams, very much up in the air. NRG still owning that Chicago spot. We looked at earlier today, could Chicago Huntsman somehow make a glorious return, even though it'd be somewhat of a shell of its former self, you could well argue, if something like that was going on, or will NRG sell it on to another organisation? And what do Paris do, right? Because there are rumours that they're going to be out of here, but still, it seems like they're tweeting along the lines of they're still going to be in Call of Duty. So somewhat strange. I think people are kind of waiting for someone to actually do something along these lines and see what that might be going forwards for the CDL. And if this from Spa, I'm going to get what I deserve, right? So difficult time for him the last couple of years after being on Los Angeles Guerrillas in Modern Warfare, and even this last season had some decent chances, or at least he was playing pretty well in the amateur scene. Actually one of the best amateur players in the North American side, most certainly, on a kind of the New York Subliners Academy. I'm pretty sure maybe he was grinding out with for a time. And well, of course, speaking of the New York Subliners, the rumour has it for next season that it's going to be Crimsix making the return over there, or not really the return over there, but returning to play with Prestinni and joining up on the New York Subliners, as opposed to Prestinni going the other way to the Dallas Empire, as was rumoured in the middle of the season, or Crimsix talked about they were trying to make happen. But during stage 3, it was actually New York who got quite good when Hydra had finally come in and they got their things together, and they obviously came second at the stage 3 major, and therefore it actually turns out it's going the other way around, with OpTic Dallas happening as it is. Of course, speaking of all that type of stuff, we've certainly been talking about Crimsix's the revenge tour that he's going to try and pull off, with with the difficulty of him getting dropped from, well, the team that he's built, Dallas Empire, effectively for these last couple of years, and now he finds himself in a spot where Scump and Dashy are effectively taking his spots, which is kind of remarkable to think about. But well, anyway, there was a clip that came out I'll share for you guys in a second, where he's kind of talking to Scump about flying out to Hawaii for Crimsix's wedding, and Scump obviously hasn't got the invite. And apparently Zuma also went on to say the Dallas boys were going, so I guess that the likes of ILLey, the likes of Shotzzy, and I guess Vivid was also on that team maybe, but Dallas boys were going until they lost their invite, unfortunately, right? So maybe ILLey and Shotzzy, the 2 guys that were his teammates before, that you'd imagine he got on pretty well with, he even did a tweet to ILLey not too long ago really, maybe it was during Champs or something like that, when him and ILLey had a great series, and he was tweeting about he was the Batman to his Robin or whatever, I guess, or ILLey was the Robin to Crimsix's Batman, whatever the case might be. But now it seems like they might have fallen out to some degree, if they're not actually getting invited to his wedding anymore. And even Crimsix comes in the reply right here, so I highly doubt both ILLey and Shotzzy wanted to drop him. He was caught out due to the merger, same with Envoy, and well, Crimsix just says lol. So tough to read into this, but it might well indeed indicate that yeah, ILLey and Shotzzy were down to drop him, because they effectively chose to get Dashy in over him, you could argue, as Crimsix was talking about a few days ago. I'll share the clip anyway from Scump's stream last night.
Shortly, I'm going to Hawaii. It's gonna be very nice.
Oh my god.
You're going to Hawaii?
Yeah,
what about you?
What are you doing there?
For the Crimsix wedding. I don't think you got invited to that.
Oh, shit, yeah.
I think there might be a little bit of beef there.
I think it got missed in the mail, Tom. God damn it, Tom. Come on, man.
I think you must have missed it.
I think they got the wrong address.
Oh my god.
That's funny, isn't it? Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
look at the farm and the LMAOs.
But Crimsix, of course, is not done just there. There was plenty of discussion on the flank a few days ago about what exactly it takes to be a winning team in Call of Duty, and an in-game leader has always been a massive question mark. In other esports, Counter-Strike especially, an in-game leader is such an important facet of the team. You've got 5 players, it's difficult to kind of control all the heads. You need someone to call the shots and call the strats and this type of stuff. In Call of Duty, it can be a bit different, right? Especially for example, Hardpoint, it's so fast-paced and frenetic at times that, you don't really have an in-game leader telling everyone what to do. Everyone has to chip chip in and kind of contribute to some degree. But it's good to have an overall, well, an overarching plan and opinion, I guess, and probably having one guy at the head of that does make some degree of sense. However, we do know that with the Dallas Empire back in 2019, or 2020, sorry, when they won the World Championship, with Clayster and Crimsix both kind of taking on those leadership roles, then, well, that's when they had their greatest success rate. As soon as Clayster leaves the team and it's just Crimsix, honestly, like, Dallas Empire still had some good results this season. They had a couple of seconds, they had a couple of thirds up there, so they weren't exactly bad by any means, but still wasn't quite where they were with Clayster on that team before. You could argue that was because FaZe got kind of ridiculous this year, especially with Arcitys coming into their squad, but still, discussions to be had on how important in-game leaders are. We saw that with FaZe, right? For example, Arcitys comes in, and to be fair, like, the rest of the team definitely contributes in terms of the communication, but Arcitys was brought in as kind of the in-game leader for that team, and all of a sudden they become, like, one of the greatest Call of Duty teams that we've ever seen in Call of Duty history. So, in-game leadership does seem relatively important, but Zuma's saying, look, that kind of IGL type of discussion is pretty overrated in the sense that, yes, if you're just getting absolutely bodied every single game, then being the in-game leader does not justify you dropping poor numbers.
Porter, this is a good question to ask you.
What's the question?
Is an IGL important in COD? What do you think?
Fuck
I personally,
yes,
you think it is?
Yes.
And why do you think it is?
Bro,
I think it's overrated.
I think you're an idiot.
Okay, well, tell me why.
dude, because you need an overall goal, and if you don't have an overall goal on any sort of play, like, people can't adapt to, what their teammates are doing across the map.
Right, but part of being a good Call of Duty player is knowing what you have to do on a map.
I mean, bro, that's inconsistent, Tommy. It's inconsistent.
Well, yeah, I can see what you're saying.
Let's look at Atlanta FaZe. I don't Alec obviously is sort of the emotional side of the team, but I think they all kind of IGL. If anything, what you need is someone to be like a pace setter on the team. To be like everybody, kind of just keep them all on the same wavelength, make sure people are going the right way off of spawn.
But that's an IGL.
Like, you don't need a traditional IGL, because some people, on the team, may call in S&D. Some people may kind of decide if we're kind of countering our breaks. I think it's like a group effort.
Teams have done it
that way and it works. You don't need just one person to do all those roles.
That is established in practice, bro. And if it's not established in practice, then you've already lost.
Listen, when I say
you need an IGL to adapt, like mid-map, mid-round, mid-millisecond.
A lot of the IGL roles in every game has to be one individual on the team. Like, you can split their roles depending on how people play.
See, there we go. I agree with Dan. Everyone helps, obviously. Like, everything helps too.
I think we're kind of agreeing with each other, Porter.
No, we are. The reason why I said IGL is overrated is not saying IGL isn't important. I'm just saying I hate when somebody's getting on and people go, oh, well, he's the IGL though.
So I think this was a discussion Loony was kind of catching some strays. You guys might remember this, and right at the start of the year, Dallas versus Seattle Surge, Loony was shooting at Shotzzy right here, and you wouldn't really believe that somehow Shotzzy gets this kill, but he does. He somehow jumps up and spins on Loony, and will end up winning this round. This is, of course, when Huke was telling this scene way back at the start of Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, it was February, right? I can see it right on the screen in front of me. So anyway, this is pretty rough at the time, but this is kind of why people say, look, you could be the in-game leader or Loony or whatever on this team, but don't just get turned on and then you can actually be a valuable asset to the team, right? I think that's what some people would argue. So Crimsix with an interesting discussion really with Zuma saying you're an idiot if you don't think the in-game leadership role is important, or you think it's overrated to some degree. It's very important for these younger and maybe up-and-coming players to actually make that happen, right? And I feel like Clayster may have felt this last year with Hydra and Co. really over at the New York Subliners, because he was talking about, well, personally his mental health, of course, but also in the earlier part of the season, that dealing with the naivete and the personalities of Hydra, Mac, and a scene where was becoming a bit of a toll on him, especially in the previous year, where he could kind of share that with Crimsix in terms of that burden of bringing up and dealing with these talented players, I guess. And of course, Seam and Mac have already been around a little bit for that time, but I think it was definitely taking a toll on Clayster, and we kind of saw that when he took his break and then came back then for the World Championship. So, of course, in-game leadership does, well, it obviously has its important factors, but still, in a 5v5 environment, that maybe is more acceptable to have Crim and Clay kind of doing that type of stuff. In 4v4, maybe it gets somewhat different, and certainly this team has a fair bit of risk involved if it is the case that we're going to get Hydra, Crimsix, Clayster, and Neptune on the subliners, because if that is the case, then you've got to kind of think about what is the possibility of a 3 SMG meta. Crimsix is going to be using the third sub. Is that what you want? I think it can work, but certainly there is some risk involved right there. Of course, this is the Crimsix and Clay duo we looked at yesterday on Complexity back in the day and Dallas Empire most recently. They have a ridiculous record, and probably part of this is because they do a very good job leading their teams and leading the rest of the players that are on their teams, especially in recent times on the Dallas Empire. Of course, way back in the day, it was like Aches and TP and co. That was the God Squad, of course, at the late part of Black Ops 2 into Call of Duty Ghost. But of course, well, this is Hydra in the season that he had over at the Subliners. He had a ridiculous, I mean, especially his start to the year in Hardpoint. There was a time in Hardpoint he had like a 1.3 for like a couple of weeks at the start of when he first joined the Subliners. But his Search and Destroy was like woeful when he first joined. He had like a 0.5. And then by the end of the season, he ended up with a 1.1 in Search. So this guy, obviously incredibly talented. Clayster and Hydra seem to have a nice duo-ship going on over there. But maybe he feels like, okay, I need some sort of additional help in the leadership type roles. And maybe doesn't feel like it's too overrated in kind of what Zuma was discussing in that clip. But, you know, Crimsix and Zuma certainly are good friends. They like having their back and forth and stuff like this. Speaking of Zuma, there was a lot of talk really lately about where is Zuma going to go? Because, of course, he wasn't the Subliners as a player. Now he's like a content creator for them. Like, it wouldn't surprise me. I think he's moving to Los Angeles or something, like, for him to go to another organization. Like, Zuma's absolutely massive on Twitch right now. Like, it seems to me that he may have, like, outgrown the Subliners as an organization, which I think it'd be sad maybe for New York fans. But at the end of the day, like, I don't really think people mind too much what team he's representing on the flank and all this type of stuff. I mean, I know him and Clayster get on well, so, you know, maybe he does stay with his Subliners. But I'd kind of be surprised if that was the case. I mean, this from the flank as well, you know, Zuma and Red, Zuma to LA Thieves confirmed. There's been a fair bit of talk about this lately, right, that he could join Los Angeles Thieves or even just 100 Thieves as an organization more generally from the kind of content side and maybe do what he's doing right now, but with Los Angeles Thieves, you know, branding and logos and stuff like that. So something to keep your eyes on, but by no means guaranteed, of course. This I thought was a lie, man. He went a bit rogue on us the other timeline yesterday. This is the full season card for Huke. And well, I'll give you guys a few seconds to spot it if you guys want to spot it. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, there it is. Kyler with the name spelled wrong and the W. This kind of did crack me up. At least it looks like Huke's here a spot right on Los Angeles Grillers. Because if he was that, I'd feel bad about you know, just the violation like this on the timeline. But still, very excited to see what he can do this year and kind of get the revenge tour going on Los Angeles Grillers. Answer his slasher on his counterparts at Los Angeles Thieves. Very exciting storylines lining up already. Even if well, some of these rosters hopefully will go through as we expect them to, because the storylines, as I say, are going to be pretty spectacular. This from Insight as well, I thought was pretty ridiculous. Just to finish off with another Lion Man card, 90 overall. I mean, 1.11, 1.24, 1.12 in control. This is pretty much exactly what you want out of your main assault rifle. So yeah, good job from Insight, no doubt. And just to say this from Hitch as well, apart from the off-season series announced soon, I'd like to host some Black Ops 2 show matches featuring the old rosters. This would be so much fun, especially for some of you newer fans to the scene, just to see some of the OG teams. I mean, look at this, for example. Look at this squad. Nadeshot, Scump, Merc, and Big Timer. Like, what a squad that was. I mean, TJHaLy legendary teams right here. Like, to bringing these back and playing some Black Ops 2, definitely something that I would be excited to see. But very much intrigued to get your thoughts on all this in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. It really helps out the YouTube algorithm. I know you enjoy this content. Other people like you may enjoy this content as well. And I've grown the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you so much as always. Take care. And I will see you next time.